Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 59 of Spill the RT. I am here with Josh Stein, and I'm not there because I'm not in California. I'm here in London, and Josh is over there in California.
Hey, folks, thanks for establishing the geography for us.
Well, sometimes it might be good to just remind people that we are cross-continental,
Sure, but it's also transtemporal. Who knows when they'll be seeing this in the future? I
and
mean, neither
already
one of
we've
us,
we've started to spout out the multisyllable words.
but you said multisyllable, so yes, good
Yes,
one.
I did it without stuttering.
I know. It's a
Mm.
self-conscious thing. That's really what it is.
Maybe I should get that checked, I think.
I just think it ties back to like imposter syndrome and that kind of stuff. And you
Mm.
just say screw it and go for it. Who
Yeah.
cares, right?
Okay.
That's
I'll do it.
that's
I'll do it. I'll do it. I remember when we started doing Swilly RT way back when, 59 episodes ago, and I was always trying to read up way more on the stories than you because you just turned out to be Mr. I'm very smart, and here I am with all of my fabulous ideas and notions about things because I've got 30 years on me. Oh, well, sorry, 20. Anyway, and as an academic and all of those things, and here I am trying to be the dumb blonde with the baseball cap and whatever else. Anyway, the insecurities
I,
have gone, and now I just don't care.
I was gonna say, how's that working for you now?
I just don't care anymore. I'm just free as a bird,
Me too. That's
or
that's what
for the
it's all
birds,
about.
however you want to look for it.
I would start singing, but we might get a copyright strike, so I won't.
Yeah. I think something like Baba Black Sheep is probably copyright free or something like that. So we
Yeah,
could
that's
just,
probably in public domain at this
yeah,
point.
yeah,
So just
absolutely.
just hear it yourselves, folks. It's playing in the background.
Yeah. So today, as a result of last week's issue, last week when we did our special edition of Spill the RT Quick Cuppa,
Quick up.
we there we go. We decided to break down our entire system. So Eamon spent today rebuilding that, and as a result, there's been a few little kind of graphic changes. And the most cute one of all, I feel, is the little steam that's coming out of the coffee cup. Can you see it down there in the right? See it?
The
There,
Steam
look up.
is cute. It is cute.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
see some other graphic changes too, folks. Leave a comment down below what you think works and what doesn't. And
Yeah,
Eamon
okay.
and I have a
Well,
private little bet in terms of
private
what
little bet.
reactions we might get. Let's
Okay.
just
Well,
leave it
all
like
I'm
that.
saying is now they haven't seen it before because I've changed them back because I am such a diligent person to the client's needs, even though I am the client.
They're looking at the before right now,
Um,
right? The before looked like what it looks like right now on all of the
yeah,
other
well, and the
pages.
after are the same. But there's
But
anyway, anywho. Actually, maybe I might bring the circles back into it a bit. I like that as it's bubbling around the place.
oh,
Right. Well, Josh, tell our viewers what we are to expect on this week's episode of Spill the RT.
this week, a $2 million Van Halen guitar,
Ooh,
red chip artists, and the change from the gallery system.
okay.
Also, is the 50-50 gallery system dead in terms of the gallery artist split? YouTube's new AI policy, and a new badminton serve, our science of the week for my friend Eamon. All that and a brand new guest are up next as we spill our tea. Welcome to episode
Spell
50,
50 what?
59.
59, 59.
59.
Yeah.
We're old.
Every time you go up a bit higher, it mutes out all the volume. It just mutes it out because of the compression on the speakers. So if you go 59, then I
I'll
can't hear the
try.
nine. Yeah, yeah. It's like when you were doing,
59.
sorry, we're now going completely off a tangent, but when we were doing quick cuppa and you would say quick cuppa,
Quick
I
up.
miss, if you listen back to that episode,
I know.
all you can hear is the quick, you can't hear the cuppa because you just shouting
Because
down the mic.
it was so quick.
It was so quick. You were like Speedy Gonzalez, like
Oh, yeah.
zooming. Or what? Who's that name? Roadrunner. You were like Roadrunner running through.
Yep.
Yep.
That's me.
Anywho, let's get on with the show and bring on our guest of the week. It is Miss Deirdre Burke. Come on down. Hi, Deirdre. How are
Yay.
you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Thank you
It's
for
Hello.
listening
lovely.
to our absolute rant of nonsense.
All right, thanks for the invite.
Not at all. We were delighted to have you on. You had a little comment on one of our little shorts there a few weeks ago, and I was like, let's
Mhm.
bring her on down. We'll have a chat.
There you go.
Yeah, so
Yes.
we are delighted to have you, and we've uh, only since you kind of engaged with us, we got to see some of your wonderful work, and we are very excited to share that with our very cool viewers at home and listening on their podcasts. So we are looking forward to doing that. So if you are listening, make sure you do check out Deirdre's Instagram account, and we will show you the tag and the link to all of that in the descriptions.
But also, Dietrich's yet another one guest who started off as someone who just paid attention to something that we said or did. And
Hmm.
now here she is on camera. See that? You brave folks out there, it can be you too.
Yes. So.
Not the band, you, comma, too.
Oh, you're so punny, Josh. You're so punny. Deirdre, we'll talk about all of your work and get to know about what's happening in your artwork at the moment and where you come from and all of that at the end of the show. But right now, we're going to get on with our first story. So, Josh, where are we heading to first?
Off we go to London. I'm sure everyone is aware of the band Van Halen, the guitarist Eddie Van Halen, right? This is a very well-known person who passed away a few years ago. And so this is his original, like he had a particular style and aesthetic that he was known for. And this is the original guitar and $2 million, of course,
Uh,
euros, 2 million euros is what the expected sale of this is.
yeah.
And I brought this out less because of Eddie Van Halen per se, but because it highlights a shift that's been happening now for some time at the auction houses, right? People used to say that art is what auction houses sell, not so much. And it actually goes back to the idea that the original Sotheby's and Christie's, they actually were libraries, were the first things that they sold. The original kind of collectible auctions back in the 18th century were for books when people died, and then their books became part of like other people's collections. And so that's what started collectibles at the high end. And so here we are now, 200 plus years later, and guess what? Art has does like 40% down. There's like no sales are flat. Things are just not happening. But these companies still need to make their money. Well, how are they making their money? From collectibles like this, which there's an
Memorabilia.
ever thriving market.
Yeah. I wonder will it come with his pants though, because they look really cool.
I don't believe it comes with the pants. No.
Maybe a signed picture of that photograph. It's really cool. I saw the article and I was like, I've got to find a better picture of Van Halen with the guitar just to show the context. And yeah, he's just a cool dude, wasn't he?
Yep.
What do you
And just
think
for
about?
context, that guitar has been remade many, many times. There's a whole series of them available for $500, $700, $800. Those are production
Uh,
model kind of
mm,
versions. This is number one, right? This is the one that was made for him that set everything else in motion.
mm.
Sorry. Go ahead, DJ. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah.
No, I wasn't a Van. I'm not a Van Halen fan.
I'm not a Van
So
Halen fan either. I was just really interested in the aesthetic of the guitar. I think it
the,
looks really
the
cool.
the guitar does look very cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Um, you know,
it's
it,
definitely very 80s.
yeah, very. It
What
is of its time.
what is your view on the kind of the shifting structures in the auction houses at the moment?
Well, auction houses are just they're a shop
Yeah.
basically.
Hmm.
They're a fancy shop, and they have to make money. And you sell what I work in retail, and you sell whatever brings the money in the door. That's what you sell.
Yeah.
So that the art is slowed down. So they, as Josh said, they have to look somewhere else now. So collectibles as a 2 million guitar is a fantastic
Yeah.
little item to sell on the day.
Yeah.
It's an
It's a
ironic thing because more and more people call themselves artists, right? More and more people are trying to break into the system, but the system they're trying to break into is more and more moving away
mm,
from the artists at all. Like it
Yeah,
just doesn't care. And it's not because the system is like it's value neutral. Like I sell stuff, right? I don't care. It's what
yeah,
the collector wants. And the
yeah,
collector doesn't necessarily want artists. It wants stuff that they know will
yeah,
sell.
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
It's
definitely.
ironic.
yeah.
It is.
It's got a solid provenance, though. Like it's Van Halen. You can never have Van Halen again. Music is a different kind of it. It holds something different than paintings or I think anyway. You
Well,
can nearly copy art, but you just cannot copy someone's music or their themselves. Like he is. He's him. There'll never be another him. There'll never be another that
Yeah.
guitar. and he's held the guitar, he's used it, he's played music to millions of people with it, and they're different. It's a different market to art, to painting, and you know,
I'm sure if you had a paintbrush and you kind of put a bit of graffiti on it or something and made it look cool, you could probably sell that at auction in another few years and get a few
uh,
million for it.
yeah, well, that'd be lovely if I
Yeah.
thought I
Well,
could do that. Yeah,
I guess to me,
yeah,
the reality is it's the same process, right? There were
Mm,
many guitarists, just like there are many painters or sculptors or whatever, and a few of them rise up.
yeah. It's the
And
1%, isn't it? It's the
and so, but
yeah,
it's like once you've crossed that threshold, then once your name could then be attached to anything, well, that's what makes money, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
I just think about like tea towels that have Keith Haring designs on them that the Haring Foundation is making money off of, even
Mm,
though Haring is long dead, right? Like it's about a certain kind of branding. And once you're able to propel yourself or to have your stuff propelled to that level, whatever gets you there, gets you there. Maybe it's
mm,
in theater. Like we're always covering actors who are painting.
yeah.
Like how you get your brand recognition in the modern world is one thing, but
Mm,
once you have it, you can do a lot with it if what you're
yeah,
interested in is like getting monetized and
mm,
or having people collect your stuff so that they monetize off of it.
mm.
yeah,
It's very
yeah.
interesting as well that you kind of like just that you brought that up to spark that conversation again. I know you probably didn't want to open that kind of worms, but even like the Ed Sheeran hot topic that was out there a couple of weeks ago, we covered it. Check it out on a previous episode. We don't hear about it anymore. It's gone. It's finished. That
Mm,
whole little spark of Ed Sheeran's paintings.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
like it's old news now.
yeah.
So spilling that tea is spilled and moving on to the next topic, right? There's this idea about a red chip artist. Back in the day, you had blue chip artists, and a blue chip artist was the kind of person that at auction was selling for like $10 million. Like you had to reach, it wasn't just reaching a level of, oh, I made to the auction. It was, I made to a level where like collectors really want my stuff,
Mm,
right? Kusama, Basquiat, right? People recognize these names even if they don't know what the hell the artwork refers to. Okay, so this is 2025, and making it into the public recognition is rarely done through that way now. What they're looking for are artists who have made their name in social media, who have, as content creators, created their own kind of wake behind them of collectors, and those are now called red chip artists, meaning that the auction system doesn't have to do a damn thing to try to promote them. The gallery system doesn't have to do anything because they've already created for themselves exactly the kind of buzz and presence that we're talking.
mm,
And there are artists that
yeah.
have done this. There are. Cause is a perfect example of this,
Yeah.
right?
They,
Like
they,
you
they've
use
they've
Yeah,
social
created their
media.
own, yeah, they've created their own kind of brand, their own identity, and their own marketplace
Yeah.
almost. Yeah,
Complete virality that
yeah,
then it's like, oh, here's this whole other monetary universe. We can latch on to that. That's what they're
yeah.
looking for. They don't
yeah,
want to do any of the development themselves.
yeah. Ashley Longshore. Have you heard of her?
No.
She's kind of like a pop artist,
Okay.
and she's very wacky, and she has done that. And she's opened up a shop now in New York, I think, selling her merchandise, her
Sure.
merch.
Mm,
She's really, really made it big.
yeah,
She got into one of the big stores, one of the big fancy stores, did out their window in her stuff. She paints pictures of everybody, pictures of the Queen, pictures of diamonds. She's a real pop art painter. She's
yeah.
very good. She's actually very good. And she has done that. She made it totally on her own.
Mm.
And then the galleries started to
But do you
Right.
remember
approach,
kind of to kind of keep it Irish for a second? Do you remember when Orla Kiley released
Yeah.
a huge branding connection of loads of
Mm.
different like domestic type uh, products and stuff that became in every person's household,
Yeah.
and it's like but she is an artist, but she kind of started as an artist and then really kind of commercialized her work and it became a household name. And it's kind of like I don't know how I feel about the kind of extreme commercialization of artwork in that same way. I don't know how my feelings are about it.
But the reality is, in the modern world, right, most artists are trying to get noticed on social media,
Yeah.
right? They're trying to build out their social media accounts first because A, it's very low barrier to entry, almost no cost. You don't even have to pay for like web hosting or anything. You
Yeah.
do it
Yeah.
on your phone, right? So it's like possible for people to do that. And to me, I guess the question is then, okay, so what is it you're expecting artists to do? And is the goal there to be generally recognized by everybody? I don't think
Mm.
so, right? Because so many more people now have access to you. You just need your slice. Like I
Yeah.
can think of so many artists on Instagram that have 50, 100,000 followers, right? And they're selling their works, whatever they're selling for. But like the whole wider world in general would have no idea who they are. Or
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have deals for graphic design for different kind of brands and things, and they have that, right, that something X something that ends up being part of the brand logo, and like they're getting money, they're getting paid for it, but the general world doesn't know about it because it's so many more and so much more fragmented and fractured. So
Yeah.
like you can get paid and do well, but you don't really have to have anybody else even know that you're doing it.
Yeah, that is always the. I mean, that's a question all artists have with themselves, and then when the like Graham Nuttall,
Yes.
Eamon, if you remember him,
Yeah.
um, he did say at one stage, going through that whole thing of making it into people onto people's plates, onto people's dining table, he kind of didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, he wished he'd have stayed painting. But I mean, that's the fine question.
Yeah.
Do you want to make money, or do you want to just sit at an easel and not sell anything? You know, there's so many ways to make money through art, and there's a
So
kind of snobbishness still around how you do make your art or
artists.
make your money.
Yeah, no, Graham Nuttall is, I think, a really good example of that because
Yeah,
I think what they do is they have again really like commercialized the
yeah,
artwork to make it a household brand,
yeah,
to make it
yeah,
something that everybody becomes like you think Graham Nuttall, you think the big cow, don't you? Like you think
yeah,
like
yeah.
he has these like really extruding cow faces that are it's like foreshortened and just
Mm,
like kind of coming out of the canvas almost,
mm.
and they're like really beautiful colors. Actually, the coloring is really cool. But is it? Yeah, I dare I say, like it's. Are you bastardizing your entire creative practice by just pushing
So
yourself
okay,
into that kind of realm?
so again, now bringing in the third story, that's like I link these together for a purpose, right? The
He
third
loves
story
his
is
Lincoln,
basically
Deirdre. He loves
I
Lincoln.
love when there's an
He loves the
actual
link.
like theme. So basically, people are saying the 50-50 split should no longer be a 50-50 split. And for those that aren't aware of this, right? Typically, if you sign an exclusive with a gallery, what
Mm,
you're saying is, I get 50, you get 50. And
yeah.
traditionally, what that meant is that the gallery did all kinds of things that 50% was supposed to be paying for, like promotion and marketing and outreach to
Mm,
collectors and food for events and having events at all, and like all the shit you think of, like, oh, this is why I want a gallery to represent me,
mm,
right? Now, for many people that have been working with these galleries, that's all that's been cut back, has disappeared, or the galleries, like in the last 6 months, a half dozen galleries have closed, right?
yeah.
So, like the whole system that is gallery based on the auctions that we've talked about before, where the goal is to keep playing yourself up level by
Mm,
level, it's all collapsing in different ways. That's all we're
yeah.
talking about here, right? And so, what should you even bother? Okay, so if you're going to not deal with the gallery to avoid the 50-50 split because the galleries still want to get paid, right? Then what else are you supposed to do except to use social media to build your presence
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then to monetize yourself in different ways,
Yeah.
right? I
Or
mean, if you're a
to do.
creator, we have
Yeah.
this like negative image, like, oh, I'm a creator. That somehow that's different than being an artist. But
Mm,
hello, if you were an artist 400 years ago, you weren't just a creator, you were a whore to a patron who paid you, that you gave that person what they wanted and you happily took the money because it bet starving to death, right?
yeah.
Like
Yeah. And it
that's the
got you. It
reality.
also got you into heaven though as well, Josh. So that was important
I
too.
can't speak to any of that. All I'm saying is, like, we have reached this point where on the one hand, artists are supposed to be this like genius in isolation by themselves,
Mm,
somehow managing to make stuff and sell at the same time. At the same time, if they do sell, then they've sold out because damn it, they're able to pay their bills. And if they do it without the galleries or the auction system being part of it,
yeah.
then somehow it's just, to me, it's like you're being set up to fail no matter what you do. And the better way to do about it is, how am I paying my bills? Am I making the art I want to make?
Mm.
Anything else can just go, you know what? I don't care anymore.
I think artists sometimes, and me personally as well, you always have that fear of pigeonholing yourself into a certain category of artist. And also you also feel sometimes, well, I mean, I'm only speaking from my own thoughtfulness, is that, if I go down that route, am I taking away what my core values or beliefs are insofar as what I am as an artist? And am I being like I'm having that big romantic view of what an artist is and what they should be? And I remember it like in my undergrad, and you're coming around and people are like, oh, I you do something as experience to get exposure, and you're not thinking about the payday. You're not thinking about trying to actually put food on the table. And it's a big massive kind of taboo nearly to talk about that sort of thing where payment is important, and like
Mm.
hopefully that's been kind of, I think generally the current generation of artists that are coming up are a little bit more kind of entitled in some ways
Yeah,
because
they seem to be more, yeah, they're more
yeah,
savvy, aren't
they
they?
are
They
a bit.
are, yeah, they
Well,
are.
I don't know if it's so much savviness or just the reality of having to pay your bills, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know very few people, even those with MFAs like me, who are
Hmm.
like living off of their art. And
Yeah.
I bypass that entirely. I have other work that lets me
Hmm.
make what I want to make at the pace I want to make it. I don't have to sell it if it doesn't sell, right?
Hmm.
My goal as an artist isn't to sell. My goal is to experience and explore and make things, right?
Yeah.
The sales part comes in because you have to pay your bills. But if you
Yeah.
can find an end run around that, but you have to make your piece then that your production is going to be at a different level and different pace than it would otherwise, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's just the reality. Is that a
yeah.
bad thing? I don't necessarily think so.
No, it's not a bad thing. It really, it boils down to on what you want and how you want things to go, or how you
Yeah.
want your life to go.
Yeah.
Loads of people don't want the hassle of a commercial entity hanging off their back.
Yeah.
And like Josh, he's happy to sit, as I am happy to sit and just make art.
Yeah.
But loads of people want recognition, and that's where the galleries do come in. They're a
Yeah.
fast track to a buyer. Whereas if you're on Instagram, you're flailing around with millions of other artists trying to
Yeah.
catch somebody's attention. So galleries are very I mean, they do serve a huge purpose
They do. They do. I think they
for
do in
artists.
in the most sense. I mean, having exhibited in London a few times now, sometimes what I find with galleries is that they feel like they're doing you a favor insofar
Exactly.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
filling their wall space.
yeah.
You're getting this opportunity for a meter of space,
Yeah.
and
Mm,
you should be delighted that that's the case. And
mm,
if it sells and we take 50%, sometimes minimum 50%,
yeah,
it can
yeah,
sometimes be more.
Yeah.
And they don't actually sometimes, and I'm not speaking on part of all galleries, but some of them, they don't put the effort into the promotions. They won't, they might
yeah,
invite out an invitation to some of their collectors, but sometimes they don't, if they feel they don't want to, then they won't. It's not a guarantee. And there's definitely, I think, an attitude now, and I see this in the theatre world as well, where there are split deals that happen all the time as well,
Mhm.
where and also galleries that are run by councils or like art centers that
yeah,
that are getting salaried jobs, and that have artistic directors and curators that are employed by them, and administrators that are getting salaried jobs, marketing teams in them as well, that don't really care about whether the artwork sells or whether the show sells,
yeah,
because
absolutely. Yeah, they
they
don't
are
need
getting
to.
their pay
Yeah,
and they don't
yeah.
Yeah.
care. And
Mm,
I've
Yeah.
seen
mm,
that in many places
mm,
in both Ireland and the UK.
yeah,
Um, and actually across Europe when we were doing our Black Hat
yeah,
exhibition a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
or like and last year, that's you found that if you didn't put the effort into your own marketing and getting your own people in and getting collectors and like the general kind of arts industry and people to review it and all of that, then it wasn't going to be seen.
But
yeah,
that's the whole point, right? If I'm
Mm,
supposed to do all of that stuff, create my own funnel, that's what we would
yeah,
say on the business side of this,
yeah,
right? I'm
yeah.
creating a startup, and instead of the startup being a product, I am the product. Welcome to Creator 101 for anyone who's
Mm,
never seen any YouTube videos about this, right? Like, this is basic stuff now in the year of 2025. But
mm.
so you're doing all of that. Why would I bother turning that over to the gallery? Like it just doesn't make any sense. And if anything, I've experienced the higher up I've gone, galleries and museums, the more they don't give a shit. The lower down, when you're working with people that are like closer to you in terms of trying to build out their own career, they're hungrier too. They're more likely to go the extra mile. Their list might not be as big, but damn it, they're actually going to send out emails. They may not be able to attract as many people, but they actually have real people that they're trying to reach out to. And it's not just all talk and no action. Right.
Yeah.
It's what I've experienced is the higher up the pyramid you go. And again, folks, I've had museum shows, right? I'm not speaking as like sour grapes. I'm just saying what I've experienced is less and less of them actually doing a goddamn thing and more of them expecting me to make it all happen. Like, wait a second, why am I on this elevator train in the first place if I'm supposed to push the elevator train? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right. And so it goes back to then I start my own creative. I have my own shit. And I sell it if I want to sell it. And if you manage to build it out, you do cross branding with a big brand and your stuff goes big. That's not selling out. Isn't that just being smart about business in the world of 2025?
But isn't that what's happening with a lot of artists? They are sitting back. They're sitting back. I've had a few. I was at one very good gallery down in West Cork, and I was with them for a long time, and they closed down. And then I had a few pieces with Dublin galleries, and it just didn't work out like that. They feel like they're doing you a favor. So since then I've always gone my own path, and I'm on Saatchi online, and I sell a little bit on that as well. I sell a good bit on that. But that's what happens. Artists get so fed up of that kind of treatment. So they nearly take a step back and go, do you know what? I'm just going to do this for myself. And there's so much brilliant art out there that's never going to be seen. Or, or it'll never get its day in a show. Or
so now rolling over to our fourth story, which is about YouTube's new AI policy, right?
You're really slipping through them today.
Well, because again, to me, the flip side of all of this is the fact that there is an ever expanding desire for creative media. Right? Like there wouldn't be these things expanding to now that you can do scripts and video and graphics and copy and like anything and everything that's an art project that could be, right? All of that's available now. But YouTube is saying, look, unless there's an actual human presence in the making of it, a dominant sense of a maker and not just a machine, then you can't copyright it. You can't make money off of it, right? Like the things that YouTube does to allow a creator to become financially successful, that's not going to be possible if it's just AI generated. They're trying to do that to keep all the slop out of the way.
Well, yeah, and I think they need to, and I think even like in what I've experienced this with how we upload our own podcast videos, and like the questions are becoming more and more explicit into how much AI content you've used. Have you used any? Is there anything that's going to be potentially copied from another source? And they've got really excellent scanners, and we know that because we've had videos blocked insofar as using other people's material for music, and I'm sure they're going to do that more with the kind of image-based material as well, and how you're crediting things and all of that. But insofar as implementing AI within YouTube, I think this is the way it's going to have to be, and I think other entities are following suit. Meta are doing that as well, insofar as how they are putting up posts, and they'll suggest you can create AI copy for your post, but at the same time, if you are using AI content like visual content, they are saying is there AI content use in that as well. But I think that what is important here is that the artist that is creating that work that has been scrawled using AI is the one that's been protected here. And I think that's hopefully something they'll be able to combat.
Well, you raised an interesting thought for me, which is the copyright strike that comes from music is because of ASCAP, right? It's because of a legacy system that predates the web. And anything that is music, if you want to play it, you got to pay for it in some fashion, right? And there are scanners for that predate, like all this has been done going back to radio times. So I'm thinking in terms of like creation of images, though, there is nothing in place to stop that from happening. You can, because you have fair use policies. So even with the rules that YouTube is implying and saying they're going to try to enforce, I just don't know. It seems like that is open and it's not coming back. Like that genie's out of that bottle.
it's a good thing. Anything that kind of stops AI in its tracks is really a good thing. It's kind of taken over everything, and
Yeah.
it's good that there's some sort of regulation from somebody coming in. If Meta does follow, that would be great. There's a lot of artists been scammed terribly with AI features, and so I'm glad YouTube are kind of bringing that along.
But see, the thing is, many artists now are saying, well, look, this has now become part of my toolkit, right? Like AI is not doing the work for me, it is part of my process. And so, as long as there's substantive change to the work or the sense of a human hand to it, they want it to be able to be monetized. They want it to become
Mm.
something that you can like, that you
Mm.
can see a return on your investment on, right? And so, again, moving on to our fifth story,
Oh,
which is about AI generating brand new badminton serves. Again, the folks who are Olympic badminton champions want this stuff, right? Humans did not create a new way of creating serves. AI did it, and now humans are trying to then use it in the real world to help them have an advantage, right? Like that's what the YouTube AI policy essentially creates. That the AI is doing something, and then there's a human on top of it who's using it in some fashion. And I originally selected this because it was our science of the week. I thought it was kind of interesting, but it ties into the theme here, which is like how much creative control and at what point is it yours versus somebody else's?
mm.
Galleries and auction houses, AIs, who does it belong to and where are you drawing that line? See, there's your theme, Eamon, for the whole damn week.
Well done, Josh. Good editing skills. Congratulations. Um, I, however, saw this story when you sent it, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What is he looking at now?" And I read it then, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And I was like, I like badminton. I think it's cool. I prefer it to tennis because I like the shuttlecock, or if anything, because of the word itself. But I think that I'm just trying to figure out, was this visually appealing for you? Did this kind of,
Well, show the other, there's another image,
oh yeah, I have this.
right? And so this is about like the flight path and the way it changes. And like if you've grown up on baseball, American football, cricket, right? Sports that depend on control of the ball are interesting because of what you can do with things, right? Like hold the ball differently. And in this case, because it is the shuttlecock, it's the oddest kind of thing that gets batted around in sports because it's not round. It's like
Hmm.
part ball and part what were feathers originally. And
Wings.
right, it's like yeah, it's like something out of a medieval torture system. Here, let's beat a bird back and forth and see what happens. That's kind of what badminton is, right? That's what that little shuttlecock is supposed to
Mm,
represent. So when coming up with like new pitches and things, I was like, it's not, but it's not humans that are doing it. It's humans that are making use of it.
mm.
It's just, but isn't that just a tool like any other?
Yeah.
The gallery system
This
is a
this just
tool that
reminds me
allows you.
of an X-ray of a spine.
Hmm,
Or something skeletal like. But yeah, I just think it looks cool. I think it looks cool. What do you think, Deirdre?
I mean, I don't know if I'm really following correctly. uh, they're using. I don't understand. You're going to have to explain to me again. How are humans using?
so they want to get you're an athlete. In this case, you're a
Yeah,
badminton athlete. You want to get an edge over your competitors at like the Olympic
yeah,
level,
yeah.
right? The way you get that edge now is have AI to do things like design
Okay,
special
okay,
serves for you. And then
okay,
you go and you execute the serve, but you didn't create the serve.
okay. So have sports people not been doing that for a long time though?
Not with AI, no.
Not with AI. Oh,
But with technology,
okay.
they have.
Yeah, yeah,
They have with
To a certain
technology,
degree.
and they
yeah,
like insofar as you've seen, well, I've only seen this from movies because I'm not really a sporty person. But you see it insofar as like you've seen, I don't know, where they've looked at technology and they've looked at maths and how like, oh,
yeah,
if you do it at
yeah,
this angle, then you're going to get it
yeah,
this farther or and
yeah.
whatever. And they see it in like, I don't know, I can't remember, it was some weird children's movie, and it was like, oh, we won because of maths. And I was like, oh, exciting.
Yeah.
I'm watching a sports movie and it's because the nerd won. Um, but yeah,
I'm sure like this could probably it's probably really revolutionized sports, really, couldn't it?
That was the word on the tip of
Okay,
my tongue too.
Yeah.
so so if AI revolutionizes with new serves and then you win whatever, a gold medal, who actually won the medal? That's the question.
But didn't the person still have to
See,
deliver?
this is
So my question is, in terms
the
of AI
dilemma.
and YouTube, how much does the AI do versus how much do you do as the creative in order to be able to get monetized? Right? It's the same issue of
Fair.
where does the technology or tool
I see
come
where you're
in,
getting at.
and where does the human, who's supposed to be the overlay on top of the tool, come in?
Like we're being lectured, Deirdre.
It's like artists using projectors or
Yeah, 100%.
absolutely. It's a tool. It's a tool that you use.
Camera
Yeah.
using camera
But
lucida to be able to
yeah,
draw stuff.
yeah,
Mm.
Murals are very much more easily done today using an app on your phone that
absolutely.
projects onto the wall so you
Mm,
can sketch out the mural.
mm,
It takes a fraction of the time of using the grid system, used to take.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is the mural made by the human or by the
No,
technology
it's
or a
well,
combination of the two?
it's definitely. I think the end product. Well, like there's never any objections to artists using tools.
Yes.
Well, there is. Some
It's
people object to it. Yeah. Like some
really,
people. Oh, yeah.
uh,
Someone who does illustration by hand versus someone who's using a projector. The illustrative by hand person, absolutely, in general, is pissed
yeah,
off that people are getting paid to
yeah.
do what they're doing, but using a tool that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
See, I think no matter how, like, I think tools are great. If you can get something down, as long as you get something down,
Yeah.
and like they can't paint it for you, they can't make it for you. They can only help you. It's like using a ruler, or tools can only help and guide you. They can't actually
Mm.
physically make what you need made.
For
So
me, I think it's about the concept and the idea.
yeah,
If you as an artist have a concept or an idea that you want to articulate and present to someone, that is you being the artist. That
yeah,
is you being the creator. What
yeah,
tools you use in order to
yeah,
deliver and articulate that
yeah.
is the process.
Mm.
The final piece is the idea, but that wouldn't have come to light without your
You're
mind
right. Yeah, yeah.
and your creative thought.
Mm.
So, what you're advocating for is that what the human in any of this has nothing to do with the making and everything to do with the thought behind it.
But I still think that you need to know what you need to do in order to articulate it. I know you can go into like ChatGPT now and say, okay, I have this idea that I'm going to voice memo to ChatGPT and say, how can I make this into a painting? Or what is the process of it? And then they'll say, oh, well, you should do step by step by step by step by step. Give that to somebody who's got, I don't know, 10 years of experience as a painter versus somebody who's got 0 years experience as a painter, and you're going to get two different results.
Sure,
So I
but
suppose,
you would get two different results anyway, either way.
yeah, I know, and I'm not saying one is better than the other either, because it is beauty is within the eye of the beholder, of course. And we learned that from another previous episode of Spill the RT, where we found 2-year-olds being presented artwork in galleries in Tokyo. So, I mean,
Link down below.
link down below. I feel like this is an unending story that needs
It is an
clarity.
unending story. It does it well with the AI kind of. I don't know if you're ever going to get clarity with it.
No,
Like my little sculpture there, the bird girl sculpture. I had to
that we will
send
see
that
in
to.
just a second. Ooh,
I had to.
stand by.
I had to send that to a foundry to be made. I couldn't make it.
Mm.
So that person in the foundry had to do that work for me.
But
But again,
is that so? Like, did you create like a sketchbook? Did you create like plans? Did you create like an architectural drawing essentially of
I
that?
created
Or
I created a. Just let me show you. Just one second. So you actually create a sculpture. Where is it?
Mhm.
Can you can you see it?
Over this way, opposite direction. There you go. Other way. Other way.
Oh, the other way.
Yeah, there you go.
That way. So you create a
Put it so it's
maquette.
in front
A
of your mouth.
maquette.
Put it so it's in front. There you go. Cool. Exactly.
Yeah. So I create that, and he makes a mold,
Yes.
and then he pours. It's a wax. He pours wax in,
Sure.
and then they make a piece like that in wax, and then they make a bronze from the wax.
A positive,
maquette.
negative mold.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, who gets the credit, really? Because I couldn't have realized that piece without.
So we go back to the
foundry.
basic thing, right? Which is
Yeah.
about what gets the name attached to it and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, I take it out of like the visual arts, and it's like something like EDM, which half of the world is listening to EDM at any given moment in time, but very few EDM performers actually exist because most of them are just reprocessing signals and moving things around and can't play an instrument.
Yeah.
Right? Can't chart their music, never learned music, never. You see where I'm going with this? Like, at a certain point, we long ago gave up the ghost that somehow, like, physically being the creator of something is the mark of the maker.
Yeah.
That's not the case. It's the brand that matters now. And so I just see it as just a collapse. It just keeps collapsing. But I got news for you. There's a new image generator. It's codenamed Nano Banana from Google. Yeah, that's what they coded it. That was the name they used internally. Was the Nano Banana
reference.
But you say to it like, look, here's my brand. Now I want you to slap this on a bottle. It finds an image of a bottle. It takes your graphic, puts it on there, makes it realistic, gives it 3D, gives it shadowing, and you're like, okay, now I want you to add a person. Tell it the kind of person you want. Grabs, see where I'm going with this, and like it just keeps building and building. It's building based on your instruction, but you're not building any of it. Art or not, at the end of that process.
I think if you, as well, maybe I'm going off topic here, but if you go back to, of course I am, says Josh. If you go back to, like, say, the Statue of David, right? And the casts that they make of the Statue of David in the million multiples of editions of that are available for purchase now. That statue had been cast, recast, scanned, digitally scanned, recreated from scans, but the original still comes back to the original sculpture, the original idea, the original cast, the original build.
Well, no. In terms of all that, the IP is owned by somebody, right? Someone is getting paid to be able to make casts, 3D printings, images, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, ASCAP in music is IP in the rest of the digital world, right? If you're going to use it and someone owns it and they find out that you're using it, they're coming after you. Remember our artist who got nailed by a certain company that begins with an L and ends in an O because she used the word LEGO as part of her actual for sale artwork. Well, guess what? That IP belongs to somebody else. You can't do that. Even though I can point to half a dozen other artists that are doing the same thing who just haven't gotten caught yet by that particular company.
Or just not using that.
No, they are. Branding. They just haven't been caught yet, or in terms of like their prosecuting of their IP abuses. Like, that's the modern world, right? Money is how you keep making more money. If you're an artist and you're trying to make as much as you can, well, wouldn't you use whatever tool is available? I mean, that's what Deirdre is saying. So at a certain point, though, isn't it really the tool, not you? Like, aren't you a creative director on a certain level?
I think we should now look at Deirdre's work because
absolutely.
I think this is really exciting because she's got such cool work, and I'm going to start showing some of the work. But as we look through them, Deirdre, I'd like you to tell us about you and about your work and where you come from and all of your inspirations and all of that. So here's your first piece.
Okay. Will I explain them to you?
You can, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This, I started making these through lockdown. This is called Passepartout. So, Passepartout is like it's a go-between.
Yes.
So, and I just thought through lockdown and myself, all my family, all the people that I worked with, people that had to work through lockdown were totally invisible. They really were. It was all centered on. It was really an awful thing. Actually, it was deaths, and so many people kind of kept everything going, and they all just were invisible nearly.
Yeah.
And that was these figures kind of stemmed from that. We were I keep saying we. I don't mean to take me out and or think that I was important in any sort of way. But there was millions of people around the world that were just workers. We were like worker ants, and nobody had faces. You had masks on. You had, so there was just hands and feet going. And
Yeah.
that's really kind of where they came from, that little series of sculptures.
I think
Um,
what I love about this is the cast shadows that you have,
the
and
shadows are fantastic
and the
because
photograph and how you
yeah,
created this, and the
yeah,
sense of the crowd that's created
yeah,
because of that.
yeah. And it was kind of like a helping hands.
Mm, yeah.
That's kind of in a really dark time
But
for
also
the whole world.
the way in which by shifting to shadow and light, right, it kind of universalizes it in a way and makes
Yeah,
it like open for anybody
Mm,
because
yeah,
hands are a
yeah,
universal,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
mm,
They're so
nice.
important. Like, and it's and people were. I really think the world came together. Remember all the online stuff and
Yeah.
people singing from their balconies, and
Mm.
people really did kind of
For a
come
brief
together
period.
if for a very
For a
brief
brief
period.
period, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't last long.
Well,
Oh my God.
it was the spark for New Collective, so
Yeah,
it
yeah,
so it
yeah,
kind of it's
yeah,
loads of things come from it, which was great.
yeah.
So yeah, this piece here, then
So this is a little backstory.
okay,
I can't remember, maybe 2019. I'm Eamon, you might remember this. The Minister for Heritage at the time, which was Heather Humphreys,
Mhm.
uh, was was proposing to extend the hedge cutting season into nesting and breeding season,
Okay,
and I got outraged over this, and the whole body of work was created around that outrage. I made this. It's a clay headband, and it has 3 rook skulls on it, and they're actually painted in Stuart Semple's flat black to make them feel like 2D. To deliberately make it feel like it's a flat
yeah,
thing.
a
Um,
silhouette.
yeah,
Mm.
and it's called Her Crowning Glory, and I dedicated it to the Minister for Heritage.
Love it.
And because I thought if that's the legacy you're going to leave in government, it's a very poor one, really. Where they should really probably be making the hedge cutting season shorter, you know.
Yes, yeah,
Um, but that's most of my work concerns nature and
okay.
the protection of nature, and so that's the story behind that one.
And then this piece here,
She's only very recently made. This is the
okay.
girl. It's Bird Girl. I've made quite a few of them, and she's a bronze, and she's very nice. I like her.
She's very
But it's
cool.
yeah. So she's got little kind of pilot glasses on, and she's just a kind of representation of my feelings around how we should be reconnecting with everything. We're
Mm,
we're so disconnected,
yeah,
really and truly, and just we all love our nature, but we love it in a park setting, or we don't want to have to take care of our gardens anymore, or
yeah.
we should be there should be a much deeper symbiosis, and we seem to be getting away from that rather than
Connecting with it.
coming back
Yeah,
to it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It reminded me of Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, yeah. She's very cool. I like her. I
I
do
think
like
she's
her.
very cool. She's very
Yeah,
collectible.
yeah. Hopefully,
Hmm.
hopefully.
She's very collectible.
She's a very limited edition of one,
Excellent. Excellent. That's the way
unfortunately.
to do it. That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then get it exciting.
yeah,
Maybe we'll want our cut now if you start selling millions of
yeah,
these,
yeah.
Deirdre. And then you have this piece here, which is actually we've
It's
got
this
a little detailed version on the
AI.
left.
Yeah, so this is a bit of AI.
Ah, okay.
So that was a painting.
Yes.
And I put it into a computer and did a little playing around with it, and it's called animal print. So
It
it's
kind of has,
kind
it
of
has that kind of snakeskin kind of
yeah,
aesthetic, doesn't it?
yeah. So it's a bit of it's a bit of a parody really on on people, because the people in it are like the animals, and we are the ones that are kind of tearing up
Mm.
the earth. So it was uh, what will I say? There's a bit of irony in that
Yeah,
wallpaper,
yeah.
um, but it's very cool. It looked
So
lovely hanging in the
how
gallery.
did you process this then?
I I actually went into a German company, and you can
Mhm.
send your images, and um, they let you alter your images on their website, and then you just order your wallpaper from them,
Ah,
and you get it back. So
cool.
there again, I was the concept in this, and somebody else was the maker. But
That's okay. You've
yeah,
loads of great ideas,
yeah,
though.
yeah,
But
yeah,
again, but if I was like Bulwer Lytton in 1885, I would have sent out my design to artisans to
yeah, and
paint it
they
on
make
my
it for you.
behalf,
Yeah,
right? And that
there's
Hmm.
was
yeah,
then what got sold
mm,
as Bulwer Lytton
yeah,
wallpaper. So
mm,
is it any really all that different, or just speeding up what
yeah,
has been done?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Master
chat.
delegator.
Say that one. Say that one twice more.
No.
But
I
I mean,
said it
that's
once, you can rewind and listen to it again.
but if you hadn't told us that you had worked with digitization or right, like making changes to it digitally, and just said,
Mm,
"Look, I painted this, then I scanned it," like we wouldn't know the difference. Like, does it
Yeah,
really matter? That to
yeah.
me is ultimately the issue. It's like at some point it doesn't matter, and it's like, what is it you're looking for? And
Mm.
you're the maker. You tell us. Like, are you trying to then sell this as wallpaper, or was it literally just like an
no,
ironic?
it was just, I only got two rolls made, and it was just like an installation in one of
Hmm.
the shows that I had. It was just, I wanted everything, like the skull, everything was very dark and deep and uh, monotone. And I just thought that would be lovely for a bit of,
Something behind that. Yeah, yeah,
color.
yeah. To bring
Yeah,
it back
yeah,
through. Yeah,
yeah.
deadly.
But yeah, that's really,
Mhm.
sometimes there's not so much behind a piece of art,
No, no, no,
but
and I think that sometimes that's the best thing. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I've often found that. I just kind of like it kind of sparks something as well when you do create like digital work. There's always this kind of conception or preconception from people when they look and it's like, oh, I really like that. I really like, how did you do that? Like, what medium is it?
yeah,
So I actually drew it as a digital piece. And it's like, oh, it's on the computer. Oh, okay. And then
yeah,
it's like, oh.
yeah, yeah,
I'm like, yeah, but
But doesn't that just stem from like a lack of knowledge? Because
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
like if I'm doing it with painting, but I'm using the wrong paint or I'm using the wrong brush for you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
yeah,
some of it is like, is that any different of knowing
yeah,
like a flat versus a pointed tip, or which particular filter you're using digitally,
yeah.
or like a
yes,
tool is a tool is a tool.
It's a
yeah,
tool. Yeah, yeah.
hmm
Like
You still,
you're
yeah,
not cutting your vein and out comes paint. Like you're dependent on stuff to make stuff, right?
yeah,
Like
yes,
yeah,
it's not sui generis. It has to come from somewhere. So
yeah,
yeah. A lot
it's
of
just
that as well. A lot of that, I think, the NFTs kind of
ruined that.
really they did.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that is dead now.
yeah.
or
That was
pointed out
fleeting.
the complete silliness of the entire valuation scheme of the art market in general, which is
Yeah,
of
Mm.
course what I've been arguing now for 59
Yeah,
episodes,
yeah.
right? Like,
yeah,
But thankfully, we got over NFTs within like episode
yeah.
10,
but
so
it's
that
just
was
going to be
good.
replaced by the next thing. Like
Yeah,
at a certain point,
Mm.
artwork is now being exchanged for Bitcoin.
yes,
So that's the same thing as NFTs, just in a slightly
Mm.
different way. It's the
mm,
same movement from real world into digitization, kind of synesthesia.
yeah.
Nothing but.
We buy your painting for $50.
I can't I can't speak to any of that, but what I can say is at a certain point, I think you have to make a choice.
Yes.
And your choice is either analog or digital. It's very
Mm.
difficult because what happens is the analog gets sucked into the digital. You make
Yeah.
this bargain with the devil, and over time, and it's understandable why, but Like I asked ChatGPT, I was like, here's what's coming. As an artist, what should I do? And ChatGPT told me flat out, take everything you have offline, make it only available to be seen in person. Make people pay you to even look at your work, to even see it at all, make them pay for it. Because otherwise, if it's digital, guess what? It belongs to
Mm.
everybody in
It's
that
not a bad
world.
idea, but how do you get them
Mm.
there?
Well, and that's what I said to it. I was like, so that's if you're already established and you have a list and you have a
Yeah,
funnel. And of course, being ChatGPT like the good puppy it was, it's like, you're absolutely right. That's really smart. Let me help you build your list and funnel.
yeah.
Right? Like it's like always happy to tell you here's the next steps you've got to do. But
Mm,
it's this is why if you have money, it's a lot easier to make money. And if you ain't
Mm.
got money, guess what? It's really difficult to even borrow.
yeah, pretty much.
Ever thus.
Well, that tea is spilt for now, but it's always brewing. Um, Deirdre, it's been great having you on the show, and
Yes.
it has been wonderful looking at your work. And please remind everybody who's listening and who is watching how they get to see more of your work. Where can they go to?
Well, I have Instagram. It's Deirdre Burke. My Facebook page is Deirdre Burke, and my Saatchi page is Deirdre Burke. It's
Sense.
all under.
Greatly,
It's
greatly
straightforward.
consistent.
So basically, you've cornered Deirdre Burke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll put all of those links into our description within
Oh,
the YouTube description and
okay.
across all of your podcast channels. And
Okay.
we will be delighted to share them with all of our 5 viewers. No, uh,
But thousands of listeners.
thousands of
Thousands,
listeners, absolutely.
millions.
And of course, if you would like to come on as an artist or as any sort of person that would like to discuss the art world, please do so by emailing hello@newacollective.com. And we would be delighted to have you on to have the shits and giggles with us here on Spill the RT. Isn't that cool, Josh?
I think it's cool.
That's cool. That's cool. Cool. And make sure you do follow us, like, share, subscribe, ding,
Like,
ding,
share,
ding, all of
subscribe, hit
those
that
things.
that button thing there, that other one, leave a comment.
Yeah, get it all in. Make sure you share
Get
it
it
with five
all in.
friends, all of those things. And yes, until next week, you've been great, Deirdre. Thank you very much for coming on. And
Thank you
Josh,
very much.
you have been great
Bye-bye.
too, Josh. And we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye bye bye.